So for this first video, I thought I would start with the very first question, which is for me the basic question that you need to start asking yourself if you're wanting to develop a good relationship with yourself, which is the basic of everything, right? We're the only person that we spend our life with, and I know this sounds like super trite when you say it, but it's very deep. Because it's true. You are the only person that you are going to spend all your days and nights with until the end of your life. And so, what happens if you have a bad relationship with that person? How can you ever be happy, really? So, that's my idea about self-development and therapy and all those things. That it's very basic. It's about how do you develop a good relationship with yourself. And the very first question in that is a very simple, super simple question that you might have, heard or that you might have asked yourself already. And it is, in any situation, any given moment, if I was a person that I truly loved, what would I do? How would I treat myself? And it sounds really simple, and it sounds like something that you've heard 1,000 times. And you could actually stay very surface level with that question, because we hear a lot about self-love and self-care, and okay, but what is that exactly? Because it's not. I mean, part of it can be looking at yourself in the mirror and saying "I love you," and it might be it might be useful, it might work. But it's deeper than that, because you have to interrogate the nature of love first. What is love? And in our culture, very often love is like, it's not really love, is I want to eat you. When you love someone, or like the models that are modeled for us in pop culture and everything is like, when you love someone, you want to consume them, basically. And that's not exactly the love I'm talking about here. The love I'm talking about here is when you love someone, and that can be a friend or a child or a parent, and that you truly, truly have their best interest at heart. And that means their best interest also according to what their intention for their life is. And when you start applying that to yourself, if you start applying that to yourself, that will change so much everything that you do on all levels of your life. You can stay very surface level with that question, or you can start asking it in every situation. Like, it works as well for you're scrolling on your phone until like God knows what hour, which is we've all been there. Like, I'm there very often. And if you start asking yourself in that moment, okay, if I truly love myself, what would I do right now? Most likely you're going to put the phone away, because you would like yourself to have a good night's sleep, because then the next day you're going to be better and happier. But it can also go into like very deeper level kind of inquiry, where you talk to yourself a certain way, or like you're with a certain state in yourself. You're feeling whatever, you're feeling guilty, or you're feeling jealous, or you're feeling like all those terrible things that we don't like about ourselves. If you're feeling feeling like you suck, all those things. And if you really start asking yourself the question, okay, so take a pause in whatever's going on, and say, instead of saying I should be loving myself, instead of like going like this and being, I should be treating myself better, I should be treating myself with love, I should be, which is another way of hating yourself, basically. Or like, maybe not hating yourself, but like, it's another way of compounding that feeling of not being enough, of not being good. But if you just take a pause and ask yourself, okay, if I truly love myself, and the if is it's the magic word, because the moment that you say if, it awakens your curiosity. And curiosity will take you out of fear. It will take you out of many states, because you cannot be curious and be fearful at the same time, for instance. It's not possible in the brain. And I'll do a video about that. But when you start saying, if I was a person that I truly loved, then suddenly your imagination starts working and your curiosity starts working. And the answers will come to you. And you might not be able to apply them. That's another talk for another day. It's another matter. You might not be able to apply the answer right away, and that's fine. It's not, don't go around and like start flogging yourself again. But just the inquiry will be interesting, and just the inquiry will give you information about the relationship that you have with yourself and what you might want to change in that, or how you might want to go about that. And just the notion of asking that question will get you into a different vibration and different resonance. And after a while, if you do that very consistently, you will get to a point where you actually can apply the answer that you find. And it will become easier and easier to apply it, right? And it works for everything. It works for like big decisions, big career decisions, or big life decisions, and it works for very small things. And it works for recording a YouTube video. Like, I was gonna say, like, right now, if I said, okay, if I truly love myself, what would I do? Well, first, I would stop worrying about time. And I would stop worrying about whether I'm taking too long to explain what I'm explaining. Because if I truly love myself, I would assume that, I want to hear what I have to say. And that just that feeling of like, oh, okay, I would stop worrying about time, because actually there's no hurry right now, other than the fact that it is said that people have short attention span on the internet, and that you have to be really short with what you're saying. But that doesn't really, it doesn't, that's not something that resonates with me. That's not something that I like. I don't like to be in that framework. And so if I really loved myself, I would not put myself in that framework. At least not in this video. And I'm not saying it's useful to have short videos, but this is a big subject, even though it's a small question. So that would be the first thing that I would do. And I would, if I really loved myself, yeah, I would take my time. That would be the thing, the most thing. And I would take my time with silence, and I would take the time to kind of get my nervous system to settle down in this place. And assume that it's helpful, because it's helpful to me, so it might be helpful to you to see, because I'm recording a video, and people, maybe people who do that 20 times a day, they get really used to it. I don't do that 20 times a day. I'm not I'm not an influencer, and I'm not somebody who's very present on social media, at least until now. And so when I go to record a video, my nervous system gets activated, whether I want it or not. I'm not especially afraid, but like my nervous system gets really high. And so that might be interesting for you to see from the beginning of this video, and how that's activated, and there's more tension. And then in the moment that I start asking myself, okay, if I truly love myself, what would I do? I would give myself more space, and I can feel my energy has shifted, and I can feel my voice is different, my pace is different, and that might be useful, for you to see, even though we're now at 11 minutes 50 seconds, which is more than the average YouTube video that you want to put up. So that's it for today. Please feel free to put, to ask any questions in the comments. And you can follow the channel. You can follow me on Instagram as well. And if you have anything that you would like to hear me talk about on this channel related to, therapy, constellation, creativity, self-worth, like all, all those nice juicy things, please feel free to send me either an email or a comment on any post that I post, and I'd gladly do a video about that.